What do men want? What do they never admit? To have our feelings validated rather than belittled, even when those feelings upset the women in our lives. All too often, when a man does try to share his displeasure, sadness, frustration, or whatever other negative emotion with women, especially if a woman is the source, we get told it's not that big of a deal. A person problem. Man up. Story 2. Probably the worst thing for men is that when we fall, we need to get back up, and then we fall again. And sometimes, just sometimes, we can't get up. There's nobody there to pick us up. Not friends, not parents, not teachers. You're a man, you can get up yourself. As a woman, there's a crowd. Man, mom, best friend, more random men. Everyone's a shoulder to cry on, or they'll fix it for you. As a man, good luck. I just sometimes wish somebody would take some load off my shoulders. Story 3. I'm gonna say something about women that I genuinely don't think many of them persevere with when it comes to men. It's something they give up on after the first hurdle. Women don't realize the power they have in lifting a man up and strengthening him. I've heard so many stories of women being turned off and emotionally distancing themselves once a man opens up, most of the time leading to them eventually breaking up. Often it's down to conscious or subconscious perception of weakness. At least that appears to be the elephant in the room and something men have to essentially accept, no matter how existentially painful that is. But what a lot of these women don't realize is that we can feel down, insecure, and lacking confidence, and all it takes is a sincere, understanding conversation and some encouragement in a way that only a woman we care about can offer. And we're back to full strength, sometimes even more confident than before. And that confidence endures for a long time. We don't all need constant reassurance. Personally, all I need is the person that is attracted to me to snap out of it, and I'm back to being the person she fell for in the first place. In my experience, there's a lot of women missing out on good men because they made assumptions about a man's entire identity after one wobble. Story 4. Specifically when in a loving and preferably long-term relationship, I want to be romanced. While I love and very much enjoy the sexy stuff, intimacy is not the same as romance. Though many do seem to think that it's good enough for a man to just have intimacy and be happy about it. Which, I want to be wooed too. The best way would be to do something that is considered romantic but also a little bit goofy by today's standards. Like write me a poem comparing me to a summer's day. Sing me a song. Take me on a date. Hold a boombox outside my bedroom window playing our song. Buy me flowers. Try and pick me up and carry me across the threshold to our home. Something fun that we can laugh about and remember but is undeniably sweet and romantic. No one partner should be solely in charge of keeping the romance alive, and while having intimacy can be a part of it, it shouldn't be the only part you contribute. Story 5. To be forgotten. I realized as a child that the most important and ubiquitous thing in this world, no one has any idea who created them. Sure, you can look that information up, but those inventors and thinkers and leaders' names aren't in the common parlance. I'm an engineer. I build things that don't fail. There's code I wrote over a decade ago that still runs. Colleagues at those companies will tell me it's been running all this time. No failures or anything. I build quiet things that just work. Things that neither attract nor repel. To me, a perfect thing is a thing that seems like it was created by no one. Story 6. I'm not sure about the never admit part, but I think a lot of the answers here boil down to just being given the basic considerations that we are expected to provide. Women have an entire litany of non-negotiables they expect of men, whether they bother telling them or not, while pathologizing any kind of expectation placed upon them in return. It would be nice to just feel like there was some kind of rough parody there. Story 7. Okay, now let's have some fun. Let's talk about intimacy. Let's talk about women. Freud said he didn't know what women wanted. I know what women want. They want a whole lot of people to talk to. What do they want to talk about? They want to talk about everything. What do men want? They want a lot of pals and they wish people wouldn't get so mad at them. Why are so many people getting divorced today? It's because most of us don't have extended families anymore. It used to be, though, when a man and a woman got married, the bridge got a lot more people to talk to about everything. The groom got a lot more pals to tell dumb jokes to. A few Americans, but very few, still have extended families. The Navajos, the Kennedys. But most of us, if we get married nowadays, are just one more person for the other person. The groom gets one more pal, but it's a woman. The woman gets one more person to talk to about everything, but it's a man. When a couple has an argument, they may think it's about money or power or intimacy or how to raise the kids or whatever. What they're really saying to each other, though, without realizing it, is this. You're not enough people. I met a man in Nigeria one time, an Igbo who has 600 relatives he knew quite well. His wife had just had a baby, the best possible news in any extended family. They were going to take it to meet all its relatives, Ibos of all ages and sizes and shapes. It would even meet other babies, cousins not much older than it was. Everybody who was big enough and steady enough was going to get to hold it, cuddle it, gurgle it, and say how pretty it was or handsome. Wouldn't you have loved to be that baby? Story 8. To be honest, we know that we need to be strong and we need to provide safety, etc., but sometimes you also want to be vulnerable, to get compliments and random things, to feel loved, or maybe some random flirty texts to feel good, because we also want to be a kid again, in front of our special ones. But I guess this is just too much to get in this generation. Story 9. To piggyback on what other men have said, it is simply to be seen, wanted, and appreciated for being ourselves and not being seen solely based on what we can do for others. In terms of friendship, I want to be loved for being me first, not because of making people laugh, listening to their problems, or doing things for them. I do all these things out of love I have for people. Luckily, I had a friend that was more like a brother, who loved me truly as a brother, until his last breath at 42, almost 3 years ago, pancreatic cancer. In terms of a relationship, it's much the same, but on a deeper level. As a man, I understand that, to some extent, all relationships are transactional. As a straight man, when I love a woman, everything is great and naturally I'll have a very high drive. It's not just because I'm a man with testosterone that causes these desires, it's also because that's how I build deeper connections, bonding, and receive love with the woman I'm with. In the beginning, the woman knows and understands this. They're all into it until later on they're not. They either pull back or stop. Everything after that becomes lifeless, soulless, and transactional, making men like myself feel low, unloved, unseen, and unappreciated for the same reasons I mentioned above. In these cases, the woman may do things to just do it, seeing it just as a physical thing to shut the man up. It isn't, and it doesn't work. I want to be seen, loved, and desired by my wife. I never want her to view intimacy as simply a physical duty to satiate a physical need for me, as it's much greater than that. As men, we notice when women do this and get shamed for speaking out against it. What's wrong with wanting someone to see you and desire you the same way you desire them? What's wrong with wanting intimacy to be viewed as a mutually desired experience? Anyways, that's just my convoluted take. Story 10. We all seem to deeply desire a partner to really care for us and listen to us, with no judgment. I've had this enormous need for my entire life, especially because I've grown up without a mom and only with a really harsh father. I met my girlfriend a few months ago and she fulfills all of these. She holds my hand, listens to me, hugs me, compliments me, and hypes me up. I've never felt so loved and accepted before. I've even had the courage to say the most embarrassing things, even admit to shameful thoughts and emotions. She's only met this with love and respect and sees it as a gigantic green flag in me that I'm able to be this honest about myself and my feelings. I thought I never could, and over the years, learned to not express myself. I'm not trying to flex here, I'm just saying that there are people out there who can truly and genuinely care for you. Never lower your standards. You're all worth the very best, and you all deserve genuine and deep love. The first step is always to figure out who you are, to accept that person, and then figure out who you want to be. Work towards becoming that person every day, small steps. Someday the right person will show up, and then you'll both be ready for each other. They'll never find this person and make it work unless you know who you are and know that you can also be this person for them. Story 11. One good, thoughtful gift. I listen all year long and take notes on my iPhone if I ever hear a hint of something. Then I sit down before a gift-giving holiday and put together a gift bundle of big or little things that were mentioned throughout the year. Last Christmas, I took my girlfriend to Europe for 2 weeks. Bought her $1,500 in presents that she really wanted. Bought us a tree and all the decorations and spent a whole day decorating it while baking cookies and listening to Christmas music. She Googled tech gadgets that guys like and bought me some terrible, junky thing that didn't work. All I wanted was a popcorn tin. I talked about it for a month and said it was the only thing I wanted and maybe socks. She said there were none available, so I went online and bought every single version of popcorn tins you can buy in the country and had them shipped to my house daily until New Year's. Not once I've ever received a thoughtful gift from a female. Story 12. We want money, but only because that's how we get a woman. We don't admit that because women get angry when you drop a truth bomb like that. I get why. Makes them feel like street workers. But the bottom line is, kids are crazy resource intensive, and pregnancy is almost always a possibility. I knew a guy who got his girl pregnant with him using a protection and her tubes were tied. Dave Chappelle called it when he said, if a man could sleep with a woman in a cardboard box, he wouldn't buy a house. The point is, ultimately this is why you will never get rid of greed. Never freaking ever. Most guys don't want to be alone. That's a cold and miserable existence. Story 13. I actually just had this conversation on Father's Day with some of my boys. We agreed that what every man wants for Father's Day is for their wife or girlfriend and kids to let them just sleep in for an hour or two and wake up in a bed without any kids in it climbing all over them. Then he just wants to get up, hang out, not have a to-do list, not be reminded of a to-do list be completed on a day that's not Father's Day, not have anything planned other than just relaxing with his family and eating some good food. Then, at some point in that day, slot in a couple hours to participate in one of his vastly neglected hobbies and at some point have intimacy with a woman he loves. However, we also agreed that no man will actually verbalize that because if it did, it would start with, so what you want us to do is leave you alone because you don't want to spend time with us, then lay about the house all day doing nothing until you slip away to the garage or the lake or whatever, and I'm just supposed to be your 1950s housewife cooking all your meals, Handling the house chores and kids while also finding energy to satisfy your desires whenever you decide you're ready to spend time with your family. I've lined a whole day and you're not even grateful. All you want to do is just lay around. And since we don't want to feel like lazy, degenerate pieces of crap on the one day that is supposed to be about fathers, we're going to smile as we wake up to getting jumped on by kids, the breakfast your toddler absolutely sneezed in, and be reminded by your SO that while she doesn't expect it to be done today, you have X, Y, and Z on your honey-do list, and actually, if we just could do Y today because she promises it will be super quick, and by that she means about an hour, that would be great. And go out to do something your wife thinks is fun, like a picnic, even though it's 90 degrees out and you can't just have a beer because she doesn't want you drinking in front of the kids, or take the kids fishing because you like fishing, but you won't actually do any fishing because you'll be too busy baiting the kids' hooks, setting everything up, and getting hooks out of the trees to ever actually cast your own pole. Also, you can go home at the end of the day as sunburnt and exhausted as you would have been if you'd just gone to work, put the kids to bed, probably fall asleep in a toddler bed at some point, wake up half an hour later with a crick in your neck because toddler bed, then sneak back into your own bed. Start kissing her neck and be told she's too tired from all she put into giving you your day and your rollover and go to sleep, not mentioning, yeah, you're exhausted too. And probably didn't want to actually do any of that, but you don't say that because you're not a schmuck and you love your wife and put her happiness of feeling like she gave you a great day over your own happiness of actually having a great day. Story 14. Want, being not told to man up or show vulnerability. First is just fodder for trauma, and second is impossible without a sense of safety. With trust, it slowly happens, no need to force it. Never admit that pretty girl is pretty and definitely someone I would like to talk to, but unfortunately, I may never tell her that I find her pretty or even approach her without reason. Everything has a time and place. If I am dating, yes. If I'm at work or family function, no. I am someone who loves deep, private conversations. I'm not the kind that asks out in public. I prefer private conversations without eavesdroppers. Story 15. I told my wife recently that I don't feel like I have an identity, that I ceased being me a long time ago. Sure, I go through the motions of trying to be me, but I'm super disassociated from it. I've gone through caretaking for my mother and then my father, and throughout I have been a caretaker for her at work and then come home to make sure we survive. We have limitations on what we can do because of her health. We can't go out or be around bright lights. Over 15 years we've become encapsulated and antisocial. I'm a husk, going through daily life, feeling unimportant and non-existent. Feel like I'm a wallet, not much more. Do not feel needed, past providing and ensuring that she has company. What I want in life, even if I could remember, never matters anymore. Story 16. Friends and family to call me first instead of expecting me to be the one to reach out. It has slowly eroded away the strength of the relationships I have, just knowing that it doesn't bother them if I just never call again. Thankfully, the one exception is my little brother. The dude is the only one that will call me anytime, anywhere, just to tell me about his day, ask me about my day, and just overall make it clear he enjoys my presence. On the flip side, one thing that has helped out, someone on Reddit mentioned that old people tend to feel like a burden to their family, and it's often those insecurities that make it so they just wait for phone calls. After reading that the next time I called my grandma, I almost cried when I realized how true it was. Just by paying attention to their language and tone, they were so super happy that I was talking with them. But I don't know, in the end, it took me years to sort that out on my own. A problem they could have fixed when I was a kid, just by working on their own to communicate better. That's it, though. Something I legit don't tell people because anyone I told would most likely be part of this problem. Story 17. Personally, I want a few different things, and this is all relatively unrelated, just bouncing around in my head. I want my emotions validated and not just tolerated. If I say I'm having a hard time at work or something, I want to hear that it's okay to be frustrated and work with me to help me through that feeling, not just be told how I should be thinking about the other person. Intellectually, I know I should be thinking about the other person in the situation, but I'm not in the headspace for that always. I want to be wanted. I want that clothes ripping off desire, not just someone there for the ride. It's hard with kids around, but it doesn't mean it can't or shouldn't happen. I want a closer relationship with the other men in my life. I want to be able to lay my head down in my dad's lap like I'm a 10-year-old boy and tell him my problems or whatever, but there's like this wall of maleness, for lack of a better word, between us. Us. Not that we don't love each other, but the relationship has changed since I've grown up. I want to be valued for more than just what I can do. I want to be valued for who I am. I want to be able to feel grumpy in my own house and have it be okay because I'm human. No, nobody likes to be around somebody who's grumpy, but sometimes it feels like everybody else is allowed to be grumpy and have bad days. But if I do, it's a problem. Story 18. Not to be judged for simply being male. If I see a lost or upset child, I want to help, but I hesitate. Because if I approach, I risk being seen as a nunce. If I see a woman struggling with something, I want to offer help, but I stop myself because I don't want to be labeled as a creep. I still offer help to other men or the elderly, but beyond that, I often feel I have to hold back. Not because I don't care, but because I don't want to deal with the suspicion or assumptions that come with it. Story 19. You continue to nag because a need or want wasn't met the first time, second time, or whatever number you were on. At this point, if a man hasn't improved or changed in whatever it is you're nagging about, I hate to tell you, but you aren't worth his effort anymore. If he wants to, he will. If he wanted to, he would have. He's just not that into you. This may suck to hear if you're married, but if you're not, then it's time to look yourself in the mirror and figure out what you are lacking that you tolerate this behavior. Story 20. For me, actions speak louder than words. Compliments, being told I'm doing a good job, they're great to hear, but in the end, they're just words. What I want most is action. I want someone else to carry my load for a day. Let me truly, honestly rest, knowing that things are being taken care of. I'll pick it all back up, no problem, but carrying the weight and expectations of family, coworkers, maintaining a household inside and out, managing the finances, it's exhausting on a level that's hard to put into words. All I want is a little help. Actionable, sincere help. Story 21. How my work or effort is appreciated. I don't even care about being told I'm doing a good job. Just anyone that I spend my time and energy for the sake of, tell me it's appreciated. Just tell me that my effort is appreciated. Just acknowledge that I'm trying my best and that means something. Probably one of the most hurtful things my ex ever said to me during an argument was that me working 50 plus hours a week at the time was just expected and didn't count, and I wasn't doing enough. Context: single income household at the time and working OT whenever I could. She was a stay-at-home mom and was upset that I wasn't helping more with housework outside of often cooking dinner when I got home and putting the kiddo down for the night. It's been probably 11 years since then, and I'm pretty sure I'll never stop hearing her say that in my head from time to time. If you're enjoying the video, don't forget to hit that subscribe and like button for more videos like this. Story 22. A father figure. One to show us how to be strong, how to be gentle, mindful, capable, and how to deal with hard situations in a healthy way. How to be funny, charming, look good, tell us they're proud of us, and always be there as a safety net, whether it be emotionally or physically. Lots of guys put people like Viggo Mortensen in his Aragorn era and Henry Cavill on a pedestal because we want guys like that to be our friend, our mentor. They seem like they have the answers or their own answers, and we want to know that so we can find ours. Story 23. To feel like I'm secure against all of the things I'm fighting against. Crushing financial pressure to provide a decent lifestyle in my family. Secure a retirement where I don't burden anyone. Give my kids a good start. And be a good husband and father while I'm at it. I'd like my life to be worth a damn outside of being a career and family man as well. Those are definitely the top priorities, and I'm never going to self-care properly until I get ahead of the threats to those goals. Practically speaking, it looks like being a career psycho and dedicating my other time to family. Hobbies and friends seem to be fading away unless they fit into that. Story 24. As a grown man myself, my eyes are watering from reading this comment section. What a sad, sad reality we have come upon. We're expected to take on the darkest, most treacherous aspect of life on our own, to expect nothing in return and be happy about it. And if we so much as allude to having a hard time, we're instantly emasculated, shamed, and stripped of our relevancy. All we want is empathy, love, to be able to share our thoughts and feelings without sacrificing our worth as human freaking beings. Story 25. I was in my shed yesterday, building my dog a penthouse suite for this brutal winter. I was using my new Makita drop saw and a new MIG welder. I'd YouTube up playing tunes on the TV, using my trade as a boilermaker and incorporating some chippy skills. I don't think I checked my phone once for hours because that's my form of meditation. So to answer your question, OP, for me, I just want a huge shed with multiple workspaces for engineering, carpentry, automotive, and to be left alone and never admitted because the few times I did was scoffed at because, oh my god, that's such a guy thing to say, or, man caves are pathetic. Story 26. Someone who accepts me as I am. No, you should shave your beard because I like it more that way. No, you can't listen to that band, I don't like them, etc. And a person that when they say, I want a life with you, they don't mean, I want to do what I want while you work your off to pay for it. It's happened to me more than once. I know not every woman is like that, hell not even a majority, but gosh darn does it hurt to give your all to someone who just strings you along with false promises of eventually having the future you both say you desire. I'm really not keen on excuses and putting things off. As they say, time waits for no man, nor woman. Story 27. I want a relationship, yes, but I want someone who actually wants me and isn't just trying to use me for something. I want a relationship where we both put effort into everything, even when the other is struggling. I want a relationship where the intimacy never feels like a chore or gets old for either of us. I want a relationship where even being together after 20 or more years, we're still crazy for each other. I want a relationship where we both communicate our problems instead of arguing. I've never had anything long term. I'd rather be single forever than have someone who's toxic no matter how good the intimacy is. Intimacy isn't everything in a relationship. Love is choosing to be with someone no matter the difficulties that brings. Love is choosing to be with someone even if they struggle. That is the relationship I want. I don't necessarily want kids, but I want someone who not only would make a good partner, but also a good parent. Ultimately, I don't want to jump into a relationship to fill a void or fix my loneliness. Story 28. We never admit what we're worried about, especially to our wives. What men want is very simple. We want the exact opposite of what the feminist movement tells women we want. Body count does matter, probably the most important. It's not just a number. A strong, independent woman with hard opinions is the last thing we want. Having a good career and high education means very little to a man. The traditional family unit, with the husband as head of the family and the wife who runs everything and does the best for their children and home and give her husband a place of peace and intimacy, will find herself with a husband dedicated to making her happy. She'll make all decisions that affect the children and home life and have unwavering backup in every decision she makes. But to be considered as a wife and mother and not just something to use in bed all depends on her behavior and body count. Women look at a man with a focus on the future life he could provide, but men look at a woman's past behavior and decisions. No man wants a wife who has been used by lots of guys. It's not the amount of intimacy she's had, it's the number of men. The woman who has had intimacy 100 times with 2 men in long-term relationships, or the woman who has had intimacy 50 times with 50 different men? Who do you think is the most desirable? When men tell women they prefer a woman who has experience rather than someone pure, they're lying to get them in bed or up against a wall or in the club toilet. They're not going to tell them that they are not relationship material, but good enough to empty their sack into. The pure, average-looking girl who works in a shop is usually more desirable than the beautiful career girl with a good salary and a high body count. Every time. So I want you to know what men want. Just listen to the feminist movement and do the exact opposite. Story 29. To be able to actually be myself. Every time I meet a girl and hit it off with her, I think, finally, I don't have to play the game. I don't want to have my guard up so much. She likes me. I can just show her that I like her too. I can just be me. And then bam! The mystery's gone. I'm no longer entertaining or interesting. Now that she knows I'm willing to be open about everything, it somehow makes me predictable as if they know everything, I think. The truth is, I want to let my guard down so badly. I want to tell a girl everything, but it always leads to be ghosted. The girls that were crazy about me, I didn't even like because I couldn't connect with them, because I couldn't let my guard down enough to be myself. That's what they want. Not you. The fantasy of you. Once you spoil the movie, they just change the channel. Story 30. For me, I don't know if it's just who I've been attracted to or what has been attracted to me. I don't think I've ever had someone I felt would back me up, even when I don't deserve it. Like a ride or go away kind of person. Someone who would bat for me, no matter what. I'm married and have had a few long-term relationships prior, and they all were great. I love my wife, and it may not even be true that she wouldn't do that. It may not be logical. You would think that I would appreciate being challenged when I deserve to be challenged, and I do. Probably much more than most people. I just idealize and am envious of people who seem to be irrationally loyal to someone. I want someone irrationally loyal to me. Sometimes. Story 31. Hi, lady here. What I see a lot of men concerned about, wanting praise and wanting to be wanted. These aren't exclusive to men. Look at the working mom, for example. Do you think she gets praise for looking after her kids after she gets home from work? I'm sorry for womansplaining, but men need to communicate better. If you have social problems, you might feel ashamed to admit you need friends, or a better partner, or therapy. We all need therapy. Expressing your emotions and letting people know how you feel might make it less scary to tell others the things you're ashamed about. We all have skeletons in the closet, and to release that vulnerability to another person is powerful. The male loneliness epidemic. I'm sure you men are lonely. You've moved all of your social connections to the internet, video games, and adult content. We don't live in a society where men feel they can express themselves or speak about their feelings. It's all macho culture, sneaky internet trolls. Go meet real people. My husband was a super nerd, the nerdiest of nerds. But he was nice and he communicated well. He listened and I listened. That's what we all want, and we have a healthy relationship because of it. Take my advice, boys. Go talk about your feelings. Then go get that connection. Story 32. I just came out of a panic attack and have some new insight that I normally don't have. Besides the typical food or water or shelter stuff, companionship, or someone to talk to, or someone who cares in some sort of purpose. I also generally have a hard time accepting help because I don't want to be a burden, but I always want to offer help because I see that as why I'm here, to help others. But I guess I need to view accepting help as also helping because everyone needs the opportunity to help others, so sometimes, in order to help, I need to play the role of receiving help. This got way deeper than I intended. Sorry. Story 33. We like compliments, even though we pretend to not to. From an early age, we're told not to show emotion. Showing emotion is a feminine thing to do and a sign of weakness. A lot of guys cringe or have a hard time responding to compliments because we're not used to it. To any girls out there who is bothered by their boyfriend seemingly not taking kindly to compliments, actually does truly appreciate it deep down. If there are times when he's feeling low, I can almost guarantee he thinks about nice things you've said to him and it helps him through those rough patches. I'm speaking from experience. Story 34. I just want to be held like a freaking child sometimes. I'm a pretty big guy and I don't really show too much emotion, how I was raised, but sometimes I just want to be a little spoon and freaking cry without being judged for it. I want people to know I'm depressed and not make fun of me for it. Sometimes the only way I can imagine life is just cold. I might have friends, etc., but nobody that I can truly talk to. That sucks. I'm not just some bothered breadwinner. I'm a human. I want to be loved and cared for as me, not the facade I put around myself. Story 35. I didn't know if I wanted it, but once I've delved into skincare, I'm 100% on board. I'm a 48 young stray dude, going through a divorce and was feeling worn out and old. A woman friend gave me a bunch of skincare samples and extras from her subscription boxes, and I immediately realized it felt great to care for myself and my appearance. For a few minutes each day. I'm now eating better, working out, sleeping well. That took some doing, but I got it now. And I'm just taking care of myself in general. And it all started with some great serums and moisturizers. Story 36. I want to be able to cry and lay it all out to someone, anyone, and not be judged for it. I don't even want them to give me advice. I just want to be heard. I've had one good experience with the suicide hotline out of 3. If anything, the other 2 succeeded simply because I wanted to live long enough to spite the worker, since it seemed like they couldn't care less if I passed away or not. Ironically, it was the man I spoke to that made me feel better, and the 2 women who somehow made things worse. Story 37. I feel like men have been pressured to always be the provider, always go to work and never miss a day or call in, always keep the bills paid, always make sure your family is fed, always make sure you're the backbone of the family, and it's usually the man's fault if the family falls apart or falls in hard times. I think men sometimes just want to relax, not have to worry about the weight of the world on their shoulders, not have to worry about working 7 days straight to pay the rent or mortgage. That's a lot of pressure that men deal with to be the best, to be the provider. I think some men just want to be taken care of instead of always being the caretaker. Story 38. To be able to give compliments without looking like a creep. I saw a girl about a year ago that had her hair dyed blue, an oversized black t-shirt, and some awesome emo makeup. I'm not one to compliment strangers, but her looks had such personality that I just wanted to tell her that she was rocking the style. Then I wondered if she was actually going to take the compliment or look at me weird. I understand certain commentaries aren't cool, so they're understandably so, frowned upon, but I can't help but feel like I just can't compliment women anymore. Story 39. Recognition and respect for everything we actually do. Like, yes, I get that there's a pay gap and it's generally easier to be a male in society, run primarily by men, but at the same time, men do have to deal with a ton, and they're expected to sweep our emotions and mental health under a rug and just be thankful for how easy we have it. It can be degrading and frustrating to not be recognized or respected for the work and effort we put in or contribute just because it's expected of us. Nothing crazy, just acknowledgement and gratefulness go a long way. Story 40. I get a honey-do list, and I always take care of business. I always pick up milk for the baby and cigarettes for my wife on my break and stop to get food on the way home. I also get new shoes for my son on my lunch, and I have to drive for this and that on the weekend. Plus, I have to help people move furniture because I'm big. What I want, what I really want, is to be able to give someone else errands and get them done without complaints or reminders. If I have to waste part of every lunch and day off, I have to do everyone's stuff. Why can't anyone do anything on my honey-do list? I work 40-plus hours every week. I'm the only one who left the house during the lockdown now that we're immunized. I want a real break. Story 41. 3 things. Number 1, I want my wife to be more assertive and initiate intimacy with me more often. We already have a fantastic physical relationship and intimate life, but I'd love to feel more pursued, desired. Not sure how to phrase that properly. Number 2, I want a job or career where my ceiling is determined by my effort and results, rather than my level of education and politics. I'm a high school teacher, and the only way to really make more money is to get an advanced degree and play politics. That's not where my strengths lie. It's going to hold me back for the rest of my career. Number 3, a regular cleaning service for our home. Living with 3 young kids, being a teacher, and having a spouse who's also a teacher is damned exhausting. And if we don't stay on top of the cleaning, our place can get out of control pretty quickly. Usually by the time we have the free time to clean, we're exhausted. Story 42. Gotta say, I want to be able to say I need someone without appearing weak. I want friends I can talk to about things that matter and hurt. I've been so damn alone through so many tragedies in my life. I want a break just from the expectations put on me. I haven't been able to find work, and I've been told by many people that I'm not a man because I'm not working. I need to cry, man. Like, I need it. No, I need it. I just can't anymore. I've lost so many people the past 8 years. People I was very close to, and I just can't cry anymore. To be held, to be touched, physical contact. I don't mean intimacy, I just mean touch. I don't think I'll ever be okay with hugging friends, but I wish I was. Story 43. It's not precisely a want, but I never tell people when I'm taking a day off, because someone will try to helpfully take the day from you the moment they hear about it. To hang out, to help out, just no. Sometimes I want 24 hours off. Sleep in, make some pancakes with apple butter, go for a run, grab lunch, go for a walk with a dog, take a nap, grill a couple burgers, and fall asleep next to a beer while watching TV. And while my wife does not list off all the things we need to do tomorrow, even if they are really important, on a damn spa day for guys. Story 44. I'm a girl. I read a lot of comments here, and I really would like to give you hugs. Many say you want genuine affection, so even if I really can't be there, you can have my digital hug. You deserve it. I'm proud of you for being that strong. You really should go to your partner, mother, pet, sister, or friend now and just hug them right now. Give them a big damn hug, and it has to last at least 3 minutes. If it's late at night, just wait till tomorrow and do it. You'll feel better, and the other person surely will too. Affection is really therapeutic. Sorry if this comment is kind of disjointed. I'm really sleepy right now. Story 45. Honestly, not to have to be the breadwinner and be able to be emotionally vulnerable sometimes. It would be nice to protect and tend to the homestead, have a good amount of trade skills, and wouldn't mind looking after kids. It's not the way it worked out, though. My needs come second to my spouse's needs, since I can better deal with issues and discomfort. I also make more than her, but it's backbreaking labor into mine. I guess a short break would be nice, but my shoulders carry many burdens. Story 46. Truthfully, to be told her family is a success and a small bit of recognition for failing repeatedly but not giving up and walking away. A few years ago, for me, it was to have a son. I had her first child 10 years ago, and she's the most amazing daughter someone could ever ask for. And as she grows, she still likes to hang out with dad, but isn't interested in my boy stuff. We decided we were one and done on kids, but secretly I still wanted a son. Someone I could name after someone important in my life and pass down the family name. Teach hunting and fishing and camping like my dad taught me. Then out of the blue, she said she wanted to try one more time. This past year, we had our twin sons, with strong names and middle names after their grandfathers. For all I know, they may not want to do those things. I want to teach them, but they'll always be my sons. I'm set to pass away as a happy man. I'll also never tell my wife or daughters gets her emotions from me. At a young age, I was taught that only girls cry and to never expect a thank you for your hard work. Even still, until my teenage years, I was a very emotional guy. My daughter is literally the same way I was. Story 47. I have a wife and a kid, and we are trying for a second. I love the little guy, and he and my wife genuinely make me happy. However, my secret thought and wish is to experience my child-free days again. Not permanently, just every once in a while. He's a toddler, so it is incredibly hard to arrange any kind of longer break, and it's a hard sell on my wife to say I want a few days to myself. Just like it would be an equally hard sell for her to dump him on me and disappear for a few days. We do it sometimes, but not even nearly as often as I would like. The worst is that when I finally do get non-work time for myself, I find myself wondering what they're up to. I can't even make myself take a proper break when I have the chance. Story 48. Being cared for. Lots of people are saying love or hugs, which isn't wrong in my opinion, but it's not quite it. What people really want, in my opinion, is to recapture that childhood feeling that someone is just taking care of you instead of you providing and taking care of your family. Men are so used to man up and doing the things that needs to be done, over and over. We really wish that sometimes someone would say, that's okay. You can relax for a couple of days. I'll do the thing for you and you can just do whatever you want. It's no problem. Don't worry about it. Well, if you like these stories, here's more. YouTube thinks you're going to love this. Catch you in that video.